On Instagram, we've seen all eyes on Rafah. But as much as it's important in order to focus on Israel and Palestine, an Indian state has been burning for the last 1 year and more. I know some of you are aware about that state. The state is? Manipur. And in Manipur, n number of people have lost lives. There's been destruction of property. People have lost livelihoods. School children can't go to school. The state is in absolute disarray. A lot has been done for the state. A lot can be done for the state. But there is one lady who has been fighting for the state for over a few decades now. Most of us can't go without one meal that we skip. If we skip our lunch, at that juncture, we feel, we should eat a little more in the next meal. She's a lady who has skipped meals not once, not twice, not thrice, but for years on an end, she was on a hunger fast. A hunger fast just to give voice to the people of Manipur. Many people refer to her as the Iron Lady of Manipur, and rightly so. When we talk about role models, like I keep saying, it's very easy to look at the big celebrities and the big sporting stars and the big wedding that we just saw and say that there are role models there. And there are undoubtedly role models there. But then there are those role models who actually are bringing about change in our country. It gives me great pleasure, pride and privilege in order to say this, that having traveled great distances, the Iron Lady of Manipur, Irom Sharmila, is with us. So thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you.
For all of us who don't know, she has been noted to be the world's longest hunger striker. You have created waves of impact, ma'am, from your struggle against AFSPA. And you began your struggle at a very young age. What triggered the start of this very long journey?
During my school days in Manipur, because of the Armed Forces Special Power Act imposition, people felt insecure. So, say our brothers, when they went out home, once they were out of home with parents or other family members would just feel somewhat panic. When will he will come back home like that, because of the imposition of AFSPA. And I myself, while riding bicycle on the road, I witnessed the beating up of innocent youths by the army's soldiers on the road, just halted the truck and lashing out with a baton. So when Mano massacre happened, I just felt, as a youth in the society, we can do something. Just voicing for peace, it wouldn't work. Some practical involvement is needed, I felt. That's how it triggered.
No, thank you very much for that. For all of you, AFSPA. And AFSPA is the Armed Forces Special Protection Act. And AFSPA essentially, sometimes it gets used in ways that it should not. Where, like ma'am saw that there was an innocent youth who was beaten up, and that triggered the start of her journey, saying, let's not do. Most of us, whenever we when we see such a situation, we will empathize a little bit. We'll say, galat ho gaya, ye hona nahi chahiye tha, and then we move on from there. But this is one such person who said, गलत हो रहा है, गलत होना नहीं चाहिए, and I will do something about it at a very young age, at, ma'am, if I'm not wrong, as a teenager. And which is why I'm delighted and thrilled that you are here with us.
Myself was not that teenager stage by then.
A little older than.
Enough, but younger than the just already witnessed lots of the unusual, unwanted things were happened, rape went on, and the students just would disappear forever because of little similarity with militants. They would bear photos of them, and because of the power, they would just pick up and whatever they would do, just disappear. And one example, a youth, his job was just selling electronic things, and he was just picked up by the soldiers and beaten up so severely when he was rescued by the Imam women torch bearers. His intestine was protruded outside the belly. In his narration, stick was inserted through his anus and inside, horribly injured inside 3 times, operated, 2 already done, and the doctor were waiting for another operation. He was holding his protruded intestine in bending position. He walked, couldn't stand up. That's just example.
That's just one example of the many monstrosities that she witnessed. And as much as she says that she didn't start as a teenager, just a little older than that, the idea that you try to bring about actionable change when you see it in a Model UN conference, in an M.U.N. conference, whether Model UN or whether Movement to Unite Nations, or in a debate in school, we talk about change. And I'm again deeply grateful, ma'am, that you have chosen to come here and speak about your experiences. One of the things that I want to understand from you, ma'am, today national media talks about Manipur sometimes. You have been an advocate for Manipur right from the start. Is there something, can you explain us what is happening exactly in Manipur today to Gen Z, and what can the government do better, and how can young people contribute in that?
Now Manipur is burning over 1 year extended. It was started in May 3 last year, still going on. Students this over 1 year stop study, burning houses and worshipping places, burning roads, displacement, internet displacement, already 60,000 people already displaced, over 200 people already dead. Still, this federal country's prime minister due to go to Manipur to intervene with the situation, is the leader of the whole country, though he was not elected by Manipuri people directly. He is the leader of the country. We expect he's going there, intervene with somewhat parental way. We expect as for youth, through media you can press the Prime Minister to go to Manipur and just the expectation we expect, because it's an integral part of India. Manipur is I just feel sorry for the last 7 years having in the Shah through media only I heard about Manipur, but it's that horrible, that killings, that hatredness. It's between Meiteis and Cookies, the two communities, so violently mistrust each other. I don't know. I just feel so sorry. So you if it be happen to your own respective states, what would you do? When students stop study for over 1 year, unsettled, and the families all displaced. I don't know. When I started my struggle, before that, what I thought of was, why we learn? How should we use our learning? How will we apply to society's problems as our contribution to the society? I just.
Thank you. No, thank you very much for that. 60,000 people displaced, 200 people dead. The state is yet burning. And what she's trying to articulate is the fact that, and which I mentioned at the very outset, that young people can't go to school. People can't function day to day. And it's far worse than that. Like she spoke about the example, and I won't repeat the example because it was graphic, but the many horrific crimes that are happening in Manipur and people that are dying. Imagine if this were to happen in South Bombay, or if this were to happen in South Delhi. The entire country would come together and say that this must stop. If we can do that when it happens in South Bombay and South Delhi, then I think it's only right to do it when it's happening in a very integral part of our country, which is Manipur as well. The next time you put up an Instagram story, perhaps also put all eyes on Manipur. Can we do that? Yes. And ma'am, I want to ask you in terms of something you mentioned about the Prime Minister. Well, the government also is trying its level best in a way, but of course, like you said, that if the Prime Minister goes to Manipur, and just like how a parent should take care of his child, you expect the Prime Minister to go there. What is your message to Honorable PM?
I don't know. I myself just want to be a human. Nothing is permanent in this world. As you know more than me, well-educated ones, we from the same gene originated, and when we came to this world, we brought nothing, and will pass away without bringing anything else. We can't live in water or to the coldest North Pole or South Pole. So where we can live on this land is very limited, and we can't live alone. We are social beings. While we are living, how can we live harmoniously? That is the thing. We can't live alone. So this kind of attachment, too much attachment to our land, our identity, nothing is permanent. So when we attach too much to our belief system, I am this, that, we can't solve any real problem in the world. That's the thing. I don't know about messages. I don't know.
No, I think in that you've delivered I think in the last part that you mentioned, you have delivered your message in a way to Honorable PM. But I'm pretty sure that when it comes on social media, it will take a lot of people will take cognizance of this. Ma'am, let me bring you to another aspect. You have been a leader on ground. I've met many a politician from across walks of life, from across political parties, the BJP and the Congress and the other major political parties. And there are people who've done lesser who are elected into office than somebody like you who's actually impacted on ground. My question, therefore, to you, ma'am, is we learn about history, geography, and math in school, but sometimes we don't learn about leadership in school. What are the leadership lessons that you learned whilst you were on your struggle for Manipur, and what you've learned from your struggles, which you would like to pass on to Gen Z, to the next generation?
About the leadership, say in this world, self-proclaimed leaders are ruling the world. The world is destroying. So as for me, I don't want to advocate about leadership. Just be the leader of your own image. Be self-nurture. Just be yourself. Be fearless. We fear of that, but the earth itself has no life. So all other creatures except human beings are cooperate with that. So be fearless. Just be lead on your own conscience. That's about leadership. I'm fed up of this. So these so-called leaders, popular, famous leaders, they just misleading the world. Our Prime Minister now seeing Muslims as somewhat substandard, subhuman, or somewhat treating. If we be leader first, we need to be neutral. We need to be, trying to be detached as much as possible from our identity, consciousness, our this or a religion or citizenship, just with birth eye view, like looking down as a whole. When we just look at the front only, we can't see about our backside. So leadership is very important when attached to a particular section or religion or something. I am this, that. The other side would be neglected. That's happening in the society.
Okay. Yes. So, ma'am, just to summarize what you said, be fearless. Make sure that you are fearless and you take in every adversity head on is one of the things that you mentioned. Also, to be a little more inclusive is what I think ma'am is also emphasizing, that you should be very inclusive. Third, you should be concerned about your, before being concerned about everything else, be concerned about your own self and try to find equilibrium within you. If you can't help yourself, how will you help other people? And the last thing that ma'am said, I think was beautiful, where she articulated and she said that if you're only focused on looking ahead, you will not be able to see what's happening behind. So a leader is somebody who has a 360-degree view of everything that is happening in life. I hope, ma'am, that summarizes and captures most of what you said. But,
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. And anything that you'd like to add on to that, or can I'll move on to the next question.
Okay.
Right. So, the title, the Iron Lady of Manipur, came with a lot of struggles that you had to go through, including being jailed many times because of your agitation. You have been jailed innumerable times and yet continued to do the fast and then again gone back to jail. Ma'am, my question is this, that you fought for people whom you saw suffering. We sometimes, on the slightest pinch that we get, we react very differently. How did you deal with adversity? Can you narrate an adversity? And how can we deal with adversity when we face it?
So, main thing was, say, when it was not a punishment, not a burden. It was deliberate. It was my choice. What I did was. So when I miss sunlight, say to keep balance my body and mind, to keep alive. I was much conscious about how would I survive in this way. So on barefoot, walking to in average 2 hours daily, the corridor, back and forth, and thinking about is though I just vow not to eat and drink anything through mouth. They kept inserting food through that nasal pipe, so kept me surviving with that imprisonment. So why I'm living in this world with that thinking, imprisonment, though not that harsh comparing to other, say, very drastic condition of the West, those say like in the apartheid in South Africa, like imprisonment was not there. The confinement is that 1 year after another year. As long as God is seeing whatever I am doing with that feeling. How would I go on? As long as as long as what I am doing is right, one day I will get success with that feeling. I just kept on. That's all. So while people around me in the society thinking me that is martyr, don't know really died because they wanted me be the martyr, be the symbol of resistance. Is after decades prolonged suffering of the people. From time to time, civil society groups, they would protest in different ways. When I came out single-handedly, they just felt relief. That's how that long years was possible.
Right. So try to persevere, and perseverance is the key. And therefore, ma'am, one thing that I must ask you, where in the rest of India, as when I've traveled to northeast of India, when I traveled to Srinagar, these places, when you organize an event in Srinagar, and I remember this, ma'am, in 2016, I had gone to Srinagar for the first time, and we had organized an I.I.M.U.N conference out there. And this was before the revocation of Article 370.
Mm-hmm.
And we were sitting out there, and the governor of the state was the chief guest, and I was sitting next to him. I had to go up and give a speech. I went up and I spoke about India. Nobody in the audience reacted. I asked them about Virat Kohli. Nobody in the audience reacted. I asked them, who's your favorite cricketer? There was Shahid Afridi that came through. There are places in our own country that are very alienated from the mainland. Today, of course, ma'am, in 2024, I'm proud to say that one of the 5 people who lead I.I.M.U.N, he was once a student in 2016, he was sitting out there and he was listening. 2017 he participated, 18 he participated, 19 he participated, then he joined the team. Then today in 2024, he's become one of the 5 who takes decisions for the organization, not just in India, but the rest of the world. This, ma'am, happens when we, from the mainland, try to bridge the gap between Bombay and Delhi and Srinagar, Bombay and Delhi and Manipur. What can young India do to bridge the gap between mainland India and the northeast of India?
Say, our food habits, our appearance, and the land composition from the northeast, the mainland India, it's very different from each other. So I think in this big city, Mumbai, lots of Northeast people, Northeast students, Northeast job seekers, lots of people are here, I think. So, say, I think food sharing, say, no, one thing, food sharing, say, cooking, by any student or government employee here from the northeast, just in group wise. As for the students, who are studying here in Mumbai or other places of I.I.M.U.N, Cooking notice food by them, and you South Indians food cooking by you, and sharing the taste how it feels, and listening to notice song also, and trekking, bicycling, the team to the northeast. I think that also would work. This gap is very vast, and because of this anatomical difference, discrimination still facing, seeing, using key and all that kinds. So first, sharing the food just for connection, not this is yucky, bad, or not in there. Just tasting, just experiencing.
So I think what ma'am is saying, and I will, I'm sure most of you have already got that, but the idea that there is no school-to-school exchange program. When we go for events, for inter-school events also, something as little as that, we always choose to go to, let's go to Doon School, Dehradun, or let's go to Mayo in Ajmer, or let's go somewhere in Kolkata. At least in my case, when I was in school, those are the cities we traveled. There was no school exchange program that took us to northeast of India and made us ride bicycles in the northeast and say, now experience what the northeast is. So what ma'am is saying to the educators who are out here and also to the school children is, to all of you, is before trapezing off to Switzerland and to places overseas, there is, and I personally will testify for this, that there are places like the Northeast which are incredibly beautiful that one must go to and visit. Small acts such as food sharing, what ma'am spoke about, that when you see, when you experience somebody else's culture, when you try their food, when you try to understand their music. We go to France, and if there is the festival in France, we'll all be very excited about the fashion festival that takes place in France, which is the fashion festival that takes place in France? The very famous one. Somebody said it. Cannes? Yeah? Yes? Yes? No? We know everything about French food. We know everything about what is happening in France, but we don't know much about what's happening in Manipur. If I ask you a question, and this is true for me as well, how many of us have tried Manipuri cuisine? I don't think any of us will raise our hands and say that we've had Manipuri cuisine. But if I ask the same question and I ask you how many of us have had pizza, I'm pretty confident that everyone in the room will raise their hand and say that we've had pizza. What ma'am is basically saying, experience what is happening at home, and then of course simultaneously get the best of the world. And that's how we can integrate and make Manipur into India, and India will also have Manipur as its child, as she explained the parent-child relationship. So, thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, with this, I'll end the session by asking you a simple question, small rapid fire. The first thought that comes to your mind when I say the following words. When I say role model, what is the first thought that comes? Role model, when I say the word role model.
Nelson Mandela.
Nelson Mandela. And for all of you who've not seen or read A Long Walk to Freedom, which is his autobiography, you must read it. You will learn much. When I say India, ma'am, what comes to mind?
India has no real democracy, though they claim it's a democratic country.
Integrity, commitment, perseverance, and passion. I think young people can lead the way and can show the way. I think in them lies our best hope. and also to learn from your very many experiences. On behalf of everyone at I.I.M.U.N, I am deeply grateful that you have attended and have spoken to young minds today, and via what you said, spoken to a lot of people via social media as well. So thank you very much for spending time. One of the things that I will say before we summarize and just we close this is just to summarize it. Ma'am mentioned a lot of things. One of my biggest takeaways in this conversation was the fact that despite adversity, despite everything that she's gone through, she continues to believe that there is a ray of hope in terms of trying to integrate and make things better. In the darkest of rooms, you will find light only if you try to look hard enough. So there is a glimmer of hope in every place.